Can you imagine spending about $4 billion on a sort of cover charge to be able to access the hottest beverage club in the US just to gain access to being inside of that club and being able to buy more drinks? If you hadn't heard already, PepsiCo acquired Rockstar Energy for $3.85 billion last week. One of the executives of the PepsiCo strategy team said on LinkedIn, "This is one of the largest and most transformational deals that PepsiCo has ever made, and it will dramatically accelerate the growth of our company for the coming years." Before I kind of dig into that part, I thought it would be interesting for me to talk about the Rockstar Energy and kind of the founding story, just so you guys can get a sense of like where we are today, how we got to this acquisition. While working at Sky Vodka, Russ Weiner, the founder of Rockstar Energy, actually pitched Rockstar Energy to the CEO of Sky Vodka, in which he rejected the idea. After that happened, Russ quit Sky Vodka and decided to take out a $50,000 line of equity on his condo and start this idea, Rockstar Energy, that he had pitched to the Sky Vodka CEO. So he headed down to Kinko's, and this is in 2000 or 2001 when he was kind of working on this. He heads down to Kinko's, he rents out a computer, he designs the logo and everything like that, and he also utilizes that prior relationship with Sky Vodka and kind of leverage that with flavor houses for him to get like a ton of different samples done, which normally is not something that they will do unless you have some type of connection. So Russ was smart enough to do that, utilize that connection. And after trying thousands of samples, he decided to come out with Rockstar Energy, which it was in a 16-ounce can, so bigger than the competitors at the time. He priced it similar to Red Bull and competitors at the time, so he had a bigger can that was priced the same, but per ounce it was cheaper, so it looked like a better value. I think the caffeine level was pretty much the same as the competitors at the time. It's not at the level in which it is today. And then also it was a little bit sweeter than Red Bull. So this was kind of his differentiation at that time when he launched in 2001. And kind of to launch this product, he actually would drive around in an old limo that he painted with the Rockstar kind of logo all around town. And he obviously beat the streets and sold a bunch of product. In that first year, in 2001, he actually did $2.8 million in revenue, which is quite impressive. It's one of those things where, there was an idea, it was a nascent type of category. Energy category was something extremely new. I'm sure there were people that were interested in getting those in the coolers, but as any, consumer packaged good, fast moving consumer good entrepreneur knows, getting to almost $3 million in your first year takes a lot of effort and hard work to get to that level. You might have some luck and things like that, but I don't want to diminish the hard work that Russ put in for just like the timing of the category, because I don't think that's necessarily the case here. But by the time he got to 2005, the company was already doing a little bit north of $200 million. So had a crazy amount of growth here. And in 2005, this is when he had gotten into the CocaCola distribution kind of network. The relationship with Coca-Cola kind of fizzled out and didn't work out very well for Rockstar Energy. And Russ did not like primarily that Coca-Cola was focusing on vitamin water. At the time, that was kind of their darling that they had just kind of purchased. They also were kind of creating some new energy drinks that are now being housed under the Monster Energy kind of brand portfolio right now that they sold off for part of the Monster Energy portfolio. That's kind of later down the line. Also, Coke did not like the marketing that Rockstar Energy did and Russ liked to do with kind of pretty models, female models. That was something that Rockstar kind of still does today. It's not as much, but that was really something that they did in the mid 2000s. And Coca-Cola just did not like that. So though Coke more than doubled the business, in 2009, Russ and Rockstar Energy decided to leave that agreement, that distribution agreement with Coca-Cola, and started a 10-year distribution contract with PepsiCo. So if we fast forward these 10 years that PepsiCo has had the distribution contract with Rockstar Energy, Rockstar now is sold in, I think, around 30 countries. They are just, I think, under or just around $1 billion in annual sales right now. So all seems well and great in Rockstar land, right? But the fact is that the brand has been pretty stagnant over the last probably 3 or 4 years in terms of their volume. They were the longtime number 3 energy drink in the US market behind Red Bull and Monster. That has been kind of a 1-2-3 punch for, I think, well over a decade at this point, until last year when Bang Energy passed them and is now the number 3 energy drink. So with maybe this kind of lackluster performance lately, why would PepsiCo still be interested in purchasing Rockstar Energy? And I believe there's 3 kind of main reasons to why they acquired Rockstar Energy. The first one is that PepsiCo, comparable to the other 2 of the big 3 beverage portfolios, so Coca-Cola and then Keurig Dr. Pepper, they are by far the worst in terms of their owned energy drink portfolio. US sales of energy drinks are somewhere around like $13 billion last year. And in the next 2 years, it's looking to be closer to, I think, $16.5 or $17 billion in the US. So this is a very fast growing market. This is a very big opportunity for beverage portfolio players. They are acting extremely aggressive at this point. They are looking to acquire names, develop names, partner with brands, whatever they can do to get into a stronger footing in this market, they are doing. And you even have like private label kind of even moving into this space with Amazon under their Solimo brand. They have both a white and a red energy drink offering as well. But the current portfolio that PepsiCo has with kind of energy products is under their Mountain Dew brand. So you have Mountain Dew Amp, you have Mountain Dew Kickstart, and you have Mountain Dew Game Fuel. You also have a new Gatorade offering, Bolt 24 Energize, which also has some caffeine. Within the beverage categories, you don't consider like some of the carbonated soft drinks or maybe sparkling waters that have energy in them. You don't count those in terms of the category. Obviously, PepsiCo has a bunch of those in their portfolio. And they also have the distribution contract for Starbucks for their ready-to-drink coffee line. Now, if you compare this to the other 2 major beverage portfolios, Coca-Cola arguably has the best portfolio only because they own 16.7% of Monster Energy and that portfolio of energy brands, some of them in which they actually gave to Monster for that ownership kind of swap. They also started Coke Energy, which is kind of new in the US, but globally has started to get some footing. You also have Coke plus coffee. This is in the international markets right now, but I think they're going to be looking at putting that into the US here in 2020. And then you have Keurig Dr. Pepper, which has a strong partnership with Adrenaline Shock or A-Shock, which has now gotten national distribution this year and is going to be arguably a pretty strong player in the performance energy drink market. They also just acquired Zions, and they are sitting on like a massive amount of intellectual property with the Keurig Green Mountain coffee lines. So they have a ton of opportunity there to probably take and create some different innovations or things they could do with that. They just haven't really done that yet on the RTD side, at least to the level that makes a ton of difference in this conversation. The second reason why I believe that PepsiCo purchased Rockstar Energy was that PepsiCo had a long relationship with Rockstar, and that energy drink being entrenched in the Pepsi distribution system provides a level of just comfort and also just a level of like risk aversion. There's less risk being with a name that you already really understand how the distribution network and the partners react to it. For me, familiarity is very useful if you're talking about a very large organization like a PepsiCo. They do not like change. They're definitely not going to change as fast as a lot of these startups. So they need to have some familiarity. They need to understand how the different levers kind of already work in that business. So then when they do acquire and kind of can go all in, they add more marketing, they add more product development, they do a bunch of those things. They already kind of know how it's going to react based on some prior business relationship, which helps PepsiCo understand maybe what the real value of this asset could be. I'm not going to say that PepsiCo is throttling some of the sales of Rockstar. But what I'll say is from other acquisitions of companies, be that from the big three beverage portfolios that already had distribution contracts, after they do purchase that, you usually see about a 20 or 25% lift right off the bat because you have more of an incentive for your team members to sell things. There's different levers and different things that you're going to pull that are going to be more helpful that you don't have to go through another third party to kind of work with or kind of make work on margins or different things like that. So I'm predicting that they're going to have a pretty good lift right off the bat because now they're owned by PepsiCo. So I'd expect probably some incremental market share gain because of that reason. And going back to kind of the risk side of things here is that PepsiCo, maybe if they wanted to start their own energy drink, it'd be very risky, especially in this environment right now. I definitely think that this takes a lot of that risk off the table for them because they have an already established legacy player that can kind of be plugged in, and them already have now arguably the strongest owned energy drink portfolio because of Coca-Cola not owning Monster fully. They only own 16.7%. So I think this now bumps up PepsiCo to kind of the first position if you're talking about like energy drink portfolios of owned brands. And I think that based around what Coke Energy does in the market right now, I think you're now going to see, Pepsi Energy and Pepsi Cafe hit the market here in 2020, maybe 2021. Now, the third reason, and arguably the most important reason, and going back to my intro in this video talking about that PepsiCo had to pay $4 billion just to get into the hottest club, just to now be able to buy more drinks. You had some type of contractual clause in that original PepsiCo Rockstar agreement that was baked in, arguably because Russ Weiner saw what happened with the Coca-Cola contract, and he didn't want PepsiCo to be doing a bunch of non-Rockstar energy drink development. So he kind of baked something in there and said, hey, you're not going to be working on those things if you're going to be working with Rockstar. So PepsiCo needed to clear this out. They needed to purchase Rockstar or end the contract, but it makes more sense probably just for them to purchase Rockstar to get that to be leveled. They don't have to worry about it anymore. Now this opens up a ton of opportunity. And this is the real reason why I believe PepsiCo purchased Rockstar, because this is going to open up a bunch of aggressive next moves that PepsiCo can make in the energy drink category. Now, what are these aggressive moves that I'm talking about? I think first of all, just kind of the easiest, kind of start from the brands in which they own. I think you're going to see aggressive product development, marketing with the Rockstar brand. I think you're going to see a similar thing that's going to happen with the Mountain Dew portfolio of products. I think you're going to see them adding more caffeine, maybe more nootropics, things like that, maybe on the game fuel side. You're going to see a ton of different things happen on the Mountain Dew side. I think you're also going to see, like I said, some different things on the Pepsi brand side, with the Pepsi Energy that they really hasn't talked about or even announced yet, or the Pepsi Cafe. Again, another brand that I talked about that has just kind of started into maybe some of energy type products is Gatorade. That Gatorade brand could change and kind of make some type of performance functional energy drink that could be interesting in the market. Now that opens up that opportunity. But getting this outside of the current portfolio, it now opens up the opportunity for them to create new partnerships, maybe buy other brands, because they weren't allowed to do that before. So look for them to first maybe create distribution contracts, national distribution contracts with Bang Energy, which could be extremely interesting in the market. Also, a Nutrabolt, which owns C4 Energy. I think that one could be an interesting bolt-on distribution contract as well. Now, taking this one step further, this could also open up acquisitions for those two names that I just talked about, Bang Energy or Nutrabolt, the C4. There's also some other names that maybe might be interesting to PepsiCo to look at, but I definitely want to focus on those two because I think those are maybe the most impactful just to the overall portfolio. In the Nutrabolt name, why I keep kind of bringing that one up over maybe a Celsius, which has a little bit more of sales, I think, at this point, is because that Nutrabolt would be a really great complement to their powder business with their the recent acquisition of Cytosport, which does a bunch of powders, also does muscle milk. They also have the Gatorade brand, which is starting to move into ready to eat and also powder business and things like that. So I think that creates a bunch of synergies to the business overall because of Cellucor having hundreds of millions of dollars in powdered energy products already. These ideas that I'm talking about, especially with like the NutriBullet or the Bang Energy, this is not necessarily just coming out of the blue. And why I say that is because you got a little bit of an indication, a little bit of a tell from the CEO of PepsiCo talking about this acquisition. And what he said in this acquisition, and he's quoted in some of the press releases, is that this move gives us the ability to create meaningful new partnerships in the energy category. He's kind of showing maybe his next moves that there are going to be maybe new partnerships, distribution contract, or some broader, bigger relationship with some of these energy drink competitors for them to really put themselves in a position to be far and away the number one energy drink company out there, especially if maybe a Coca-Cola comes in and buys Monster. They need to be in a position to still uphold that number one position in arguably the fastest growing large beverage category right now. So PepsiCo's like mergers and acquisition strategy has been towards capitalizing on some of the consumer trends that are happening right now with both like functional beverages, making sure they're buying functional beverages, also with buying better for you snacking companies. PepsiCo is doing a really good job at repositioning their portfolio for this shift in which consumers are trying to make better selections with their products. They're asking more of the products in which they are purchasing. So PepsiCo's out there actively looking for different companies that fit that need for the kind of healthier consumer or the consumers that are looking for something that's a little bit better for them on the go. So PepsiCo is kind of looking to create a repeat here. Last year, when I was putting together my kind of Schall Consulting awards, I gave them the kind of the best overall M&A in the better for you CPG world. And it looks like they're getting extremely aggressive already in the early part of 2020 to make sure they can repeat and get that award again. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.